Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. You join me today in Toyota's latest SUV, the Grand Highlander, a further division of three-row SUV offerings that Toyota is now selling. So if you're in the circumstance that you need a three-row SUV and you're preferential to Toyota, you're going to be spending a lot of time in the dealership really determining what is best for you. The normal Highlander, the Sequoia, and maybe even throw the Sienna minivan in there too. It could potentially be a little bit difficult to determine which product is best for you. So I'm going to be tackling this review of the Grand Highlander, but throw in a little bit of buyer's guide opinions as towards which product you will want to end up with. But before I do that, let's actually talk about what I'm driving today. The Grand Highlander comes in three different powertrain configurations. You have the 2.4 litre turbocharged four-cylinder engine as the normal gas model. You've got the 2.5 litre naturally aspirated hybrid system with the CVT, two electric motors, same system that you would find in the normal Highlander. And then you have the Hybrid Max, which is the 2.4 litre turbocharged engine, as I said earlier, a bigger battery pack, a 6-speed automatic transmission, and has the power output of 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. Now, when we first learnt the term Hybrid Max, it was with the new Tundra and the new Sequoia. Those ones came with the 3.5 litre twin-turbo V6, a 10-speed transmission. So Hybrid Max in the realm of marketing for Toyota is the hybrid system that is created for power and towing capability more than what it is actual efficiency. I'm going to throw down the numbers here for this Hybrid Max's fuel economy, but then have it up against the normal hybrids fuel economy. And with that, if you care about efficiency, spending less at the gas stations, that's going to be the better product for you. This has been developed to be more powerful, more engaging, but that's going to be a little more up to you to determine, is it worth it? This Hybrid Max does the same amount of towing capacity as the 2.4 litre turbo, so that's 5,000 pounds. The hybrid can only do 3,500 pounds towing capacity. And the big deal about the Grand Highlander is that it is physically bigger than the Highlander, 4 inches of increased length and about 5.5 more inches of legroom for the third row. With those seats up, you can still throw in some carry-on bags. Underneath the floor, you'll see a place to store away a security cover, and underneath that, your Space Saver spare wheel. Really appreciate those details. And the seats do fold down flat just by tugging on the straps for the third row, and pulling on the secondary handle will drop the middle row flat as well. And I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'4". The seats are still low, so you're not really going to be getting all that much leg support, but it does mean that I can sit behind myself in the third row. It's not the fairest of comparisons to have me in that third row of this or the Highlander. It's tight no matter what, but it is definitely better here than what it is the normal Highlander. So that kind of decision between the two products is, are you going to be using that third row of seating all the time for taller passengers, for your kids? Or is third row occupancy a once a month kind of occurrence? Then I would probably point you towards the Highlander, unless of course you want the Hybrid Max powertrain. There needs to be some mention put towards the Sequoia as well, and that's definitely a different intended product. Whereas the Highlander and Grand Highlander are all-wheel drive systems, that Sequoia is obviously a four-wheel drive system based on a truck platform. It's going to have significantly greater off-road capability and significantly more towing as well. That can tow up to 9,000 pounds. So with that speech, hopefully I've conveyed the purpose of why the Grand Highlander exists. And I have to say, it does succeed at its mission quite well. I do think this is a step up in the cabin compared to a Highlander. Is it grand in that it's more luxurious? Well, it's certainly quieter in here. I'm really impressed with the highway ambient noise that just comes off of the tires and the wind and all that. It is quiet in here. We've got some nice brown leatherettes coating around the cabin. I like the use of this textured plastic instead of using piano black plastic. There is some of that to be seen, but to have something like this, something that's textured, plays around with the light, it's a lot more interesting. And yes, it is hard, it's still cheap, but at least it's more attractive to the eye. Some of these rose gold accents around the cabin, I think, uplift it a fair bit. You can have the Grand Highlander as either an 8-seater or 7-seater. In this top trim Platinum, we get the captain chair set up for that second row. They can slide forwards and backwards, recline slightly. Even though it might look a little bit tight here with this overlay, I'm very comfortable back there. It feels very spacious, lots of shoulder room, and this little center console can be detached and removed if you just needed it out of sight, out of mind. Speaking of that, there are plenty of cup holders in this car, lots of USB-C chargers, more than I can count up to, honestly. And with the 12.3-inch screen, you have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. To speak on the driving experience, it's a little bit generic Toyota. It's soft. There's a good amount of pitch in the corners. I do think the steering is a fair bit rubbery. It is light. It's not giving that much feedback, but that means that you can navigate this 3-row SUV very easily in all kinds of driving circumstances. The 2.4-litre engine with this hybrid max system is good. There is plenty of power pickup, and it does feel more rapid when you're on the move as opposed to getting it off the line. There's a couple different driving modes. You select that down here in the center console, which in of itself is big, nice open space. And the 2.4-litre engine actually has a nice little thrum to it. It sounds a little bit V6-y to me. I don't know if it's sound being pumped into the JBL speaker system here, because I don't think it's synthetic sounding at all. It might be just so quiet and so distant intentionally that's why it's fooling me. It's doing a good job. The transmission is seamless, the brake feel is great, maybe even the best that I've experienced out of a Toyota hybrid product. Like the hybrid max systems, you do have an EV mode, but you can't select it here in the Grand Highlander. It mostly acts like an automatic stop-start system. Maybe if you're coasting down a hill, it will engage, but the hybrid capability, yes, it will influence fuel economy, but I don't think that is its main prerogative in this product. Which I miss that EV button like you get on the RAV4 hybrid. I like it when I'm in a parking lot, let's say, and I know I'm just going to be slow crawling, that I can forcefully tell the car, just use some of that reserve battery electric power. All-round visibility, really not that bad for a product like this. You have a display built into the rear view mirror. If you've got a ton of people or things behind you, can't look out the back window, that works great. So the overall mission, I think, has been accomplished with the Grand Highlander. You need something a little bigger than the normal Highlander, something a little more sophisticated than the Sequoia. I really think the biggest competition for Toyota in its own dealership is the Sienna, but there's that typical resilience that some consumers have towards buying minivans, which I have probably stated a few times on this channel, don't personally understand. I think I would be enjoying the Sienna more. I do think that is a brilliant product, but can't argue that this thing is working and actually fairly desirable. What I don't like about this product, though, is just how generic it looks. They've designed a brand new vehicle on a platform that is shared with the Highlander, but a brand new vehicle, a brand new nameplate, and it looks more like the RAV4 than it looks like the Highlander or the Sequoia. It doesn't look like it bridges that gap, and I do think that's a bit of a shame, to make an all-new product look like one of the most common new cars sold today. So that's where my own subjectivity, my own personal sort of opinion affects how I view this product. But I'm not discounting it in that, you know, it's worse for it. It's just perhaps a missed opportunity more than anything else. So to wrap up my thoughts here of this review, I really have enjoyed my time with the Grand Highlander. I think it's successful at its mission, but there's no doubt Toyota is slicing up its pie thinly. But don't forget, this pie is made up of similar ingredients. After watching this review or others, and you've determined that this is a car that you want to consider owning, please go and also check out the Highlander, the Sienna, and the Sequoia, and really narrow down on the use cases that you are intending to get out of a new Toyota product. At the end of the day, you might walk in wanting one thing and walking out with a totally different product. So don't do yourself a disservice. Try them all. I do think they are all very commendable products, and I have enjoyed my time with this Grand Highlander. So with all of that, thank you very much for taking time to watching this video, and I hope to see you again on the channel soon.